This is Toby Salgado, and I'm here to help answer a question we all have. How do I build my business faster, better, and easier? I interview the top real estate minds in the country, dig into their businesses and lives so you can learn what's working and avoid the mistakes these people made along the way. Now, if you want to learn more of the strategies and tips found in this interview and in my archives, you want to do two things. First, go to our site, superagentslive.com. Subscribe to the show, and that way you won't miss any of my future conversations with these top producers. And second, while you're there, download my free ebook titled How to Sell. That's going to get you on our list, and you can be the first to hear about anything new we're doing. And look, if you're so inclined, give us a rating and review. That really helps a show. I used to ask for those, and I don't anymore, so I would really appreciate that. Now, today's sponsor look, we rely on sponsors. So Discover Publications is our sponsor. They've been taking care of us, keeping the lights on in the studio. Now, here's what these guys do. For slightly more than the cost of a stamp, Discover Publications will create a fully customized newspaper to send out to your sphere of influence, send out to your farms, send out to your friends, whoever, so you can always stay top of mind with your prospects. And this is a very unique type of marketing. Now, what a lot of people are doing is they sell ads in the newspaper to their vendors, the insurance guy, the mortgage guy, the contractor, and zero base their cost. That means your vendors cover most of the paper cost of the paper, the whole strategy. Now, listen, it's easier than you think. Go out and do it. Check out discoverpubs.com. Let me know what you think. Now, this is the second episode that I want to tell you we've made some headway on the new member site. Now, it's up on the site. It's pretty much up. Now, we're going to have three levels. We're going to have a silver, a gold, a platinum. Silver's free. You get in there, and you're going to have access to, stuff like, there's scripts and tracking sheets and all that. The gold level is going to cost. It's going to be really, really super affordable. But, there you're going to, have business plan templates and budgeting templates and all that stuff where, look, man, if I can save you 2 days creating a giant Excel spreadsheet, it's so worth the cost. And then the last one, the platinum one, is the thing that you guys have been asking for, and that is the group. The group. This is where you get to interact with one another in the audience, ask questions, share what's working, what's not. I'm in there, and guess what? My buddy Bob Corcoran, which Bob charges $5,000 a month. And you know what you get for $5,000 with Bob? You get 2 phone calls a month with him. Now, that might seem like a lot, and it is, but the dude is worth it. I mean, he takes people from 100 million to 200 million. Here's what he told me last night he would do. He said to me, listen, Toby, now look, he loves what we're doing out here, okay? Now, he told me, he said, listen, because we were talking about the member site. He said, listen, what I will do is once a quarter, and he said, really, it's up to me. He said, listen, Toby, you can do it once a quarter, once a month, but, he said, I will get on a live Google Hangout and, with you guys and, answer questions, kind of do a group coaching session, which really, man, I was like, are you joking me? I mean, that's super valuable. So the platinum level will get that. So I would say go sign up and we're going to start rolling out stuff. Now, if you are listening to this episode the day of release, and that is Friday, October 11th, I believe. Friday, October the 10th. I'm going to be in South Carolina at Charleston, South Carolina at the Boomtown Conference. Me hanging out. I've had a lot of Boomtown people on the show, so I'm going to go and see people in real life and, shake their hands and see who wants to get on the radio. So it's going to be pretty fun. That's it. Now, listen, today's super agent, my radio voice, today's super agent is Hos Pratt. All right. Let me know if you like it. Let's get to the show. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah.
Today on the show, we have a guy that's been recommended to me many times. I finally went out and got him on the show. Today we're going to talk about different lead generation channels you should have in your business, including expireds and FSBOs, and we're even going to spend some time on mindset. I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Hos Pratt. Hey, Hos, thanks for taking the time out today.
Hey, Toby, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So listen, Hos, I was unfamiliar with you until a mutual friend of ours introduced us, but take a minute, tell the audience a little bit about yourself as well as your business.
Yeah, well, my name's Hos Pratt. I'm the founder of Success Systems and CEO of Fuel Lead Systems, and we have a real estate coaching and training company that helps real estate agents differentiate themselves. We equip them with tools that reposition them in the marketplace, allowing them to dramatically improve their business. I've been in the business for over 12 years now. I've done over 1,000 live seminars in over 45 states, over 1,000 online events, and over 4,000 one-on-one coaching hours of helping real estate agents go from where they are right now to where they want to go, and helping them get clear on that vision of what they need to do, what they need to change, and the tools that will help them get to that point, to be able to have freedom from time, freedom from money, and really be able to live that lifestyle that they've always wanted to live. The lifestyle that that they were seeking when they got into real estate. Where you find when you get into real estate, it seems like what lifestyle we work all the time, right? And most agents do. And 95% of the transactions are done by 5% of the agents. And what we do is we help people become a top 5%er, and the 5%ers become the 1%ers. And so we help them along that path, and we give them the tools that will allow them to get there.
Interesting. So, let's talk about that for a second because, look, here's the deal. You can look at almost any brokerage, and you have three distinct groups. You have the top 20% who are crushing it. You have the middle 60% these guys are, they're holding their own. And you have the bottom 20% that are just literally taking up space. And if you look at, what differentiates the top 20 from the bottom 20 is that 80%, 90% of the top 20 will have a coach. 0% of the bottom 20 have a coach. Why is that, Hos? Everybody knows that, professional athletes, actors, everybody has a coach. What is this thing that stops people from going out and asking for help or investing in themselves? 4,000 coaching calls. I'm curious to get your viewpoint on that.
You know what? And that's a great question. Sometimes I ask myself, why am I in the business I'm in, and what led me here? And I guess it takes me back to, when I was in my teens and I was, working on a dairy farm in Missouri, and I decided I want to do that, and I started a lawn service, and we were mowing 100 lawns a week, and we just really grew, and I decided not to go to college because I was successful at the time. It's hard to convince any, teenager making six figures to go to college. And but Toby, fortunately for me, I had a mentor at the time that took me under his wing, and he taught me, he coached me, he poured himself into me, he helped me develop, at least understand the skills I needed to develop. He helped me think a lot differently. And he instilled in me from that early age to always seek a coach. And so even when I got into real estate, that was one of the first things I did was to get a coach. Having a mentor and a coach is absolutely paramount to getting to the next level, because at every level you're at, there's always somebody that's at the next level that will help you get to that next level. And so, there's a guy named Jim Rohn that I followed, still do, listen to him consistently all the time. And he instilled a principle that the most successful people follow, and I believe it's true, that if you take 10% of the money you make and you invest that into one of the most valuable assets you have, which is yourself, and you develop that asset, you go to seminars, you go to events, you hire a coach, you're part of a mastermind, you're learning based, and you want to grow. It's real hard to not be successful when you're surrounded by successful people like that. And so one thing that I've learned is, I guess, that people think, why they don't hire a coach is there's more fear, right? They think that they can't afford the coach, and they ask themselves the wrong question. It's not a matter of, can I afford this coach? Let's say it's $12,000 to $20,000 a year. That's a lot of money for a coach, and they think I can't afford it. Well, a better question to ask yourself is, what will happen if I don't afford it? What will happen if I don't take action? And for me, that wake-up call came my first year in real estate. I spent the first 6 months in real estate circling the drain. I was the typical average broke agent. I was doing the wrong things. I wasn't focused on prospecting, wasn't focused on lead generation like I needed to be. And I hired a coach to help me understand how powerful those things are and help me understand marketing and how important marketing is to a successful real estate business. And that coach just, as I like to say, he turned the lights on, right? He turned the lights on consciously for me on what I needed to do. And, I closed my first year. I did, nearly $8 million in volume, all of which was the second part of my first year, because I chose to take action. I chose to change. But the reality is I had so much fear of if I didn't take action, where I would be. I mean, no college education. I wasn't going to go get a job. I had no choice. And I burnt the boats. And to me, that was the decision that, shaped my destiny, because that's what I do today even. I help other people, overcome those same challenges and, ensure success for their own career.
Got it. No, and look, so you started that whole sort of monologue with Jim Rohn. Now, I love Jim Rohn. There's a quote that I think is great, and you were dancing around it with your answer there. And the quote is this. I'm sure you know it, but you were the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you, like you said earlier, right, go out, get into a mastermind group, right, go to conferences, excuse me, whatever, you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Let me ask you this. When you first got on this call, you said we help reposition people. For you, Hos, there's a crazy question, but what is coaching? Is it accountability? Is it repositioning? Is it what is it to you? What is coaching? How can you break that down?
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that. So what the coaching is, but the quote that, and Jim Rohn has another quote, that is, success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become.
Right, yeah.
And that mindset and that quote, that single quote, changed the course of my life. And we have an event coming up next month, and I have Hal Elrod, who wrote a book called The Miracle Morning, speaking. He's speaking at the event.
Yeah, by the way, Hal's been on the show, man. He's done.
Yeah, great, man. Yeah. Hal's amazing.
He's
so cool. His energy, his message. The guy is, he's an awesome friend, and he's going to be at our event, and he's, he brings tons of value to the community. And that's the one quote that he said changed his life as well, because a lot of people, in real estate, they look for shiny objects or tools that will help them get to that next level. In reality, it's you that's going to get to the next level. You become that, that marketer of the year, or you become that $20 million producer. Doesn't happen by accident. Like this, Toby, and I ask people this, if you could become twice as good at converting prospects over the phone, what would happen to your income? It would go up. Well, yeah, if you could become twice as good at positioning yourself than you are right now, what would happen to your income? Or you finally put systems in place that, feel less chaotic, and you're more certain what would happen. So, I want to add that, because that's really important, and it's a big part of what we do on the coaching side. Is we help them attract success, not giving them the squirrels to go pursue success. And so, positioning is huge, and I believe that my goal is to make it virtually impossible for people to compete with our clients in the marketplace, but more importantly, make it virtually impossible for prospects to tell our clients no, because we've done such a great job of positioning them in the eyes of the consumer. And I think that in real estate right now, we're at different times. I mean, real estate's changing at warp speed. You just had Trulia get acquired by Zillow for $3.5 billion, and to put that in context, you could add the value of Keller Williams and the value of RE/MAX, add them together, times it times 2, and it's still not $3.5 billion, right? So there's no doubt that we're going through a lot of changes, and I believe that through those changes and what we have to do to remain a 5% or remain the undisputed number one agent, best choice for marketing and selling property, is all about positioning and how we do that. How do you position that agent in a way that gets them results and makes it, the appointments that they go on more like cutting through warm butter than, just getting beat up like a punching bag, right? So there's a lot of different strategies and methods that we use to do that, and it's a big reason why we're able to, to guarantee the results we get for our clients. I mean, we have a single goal is to double their business in 12 months. A big part is giving them the tools that will allow them to do that.
Okay, so I want you to unpack that a little bit more, but again, you've been through 4,000 coaching calls. Is there like a common theme that you see over and over again? I mean, look, here's what I see, right? Everybody knows they need to get – you're talking about a minute ago when you were explaining that, you were talking about becoming more effective, right? Doubling your production, doubling your closing rate, whatever. People are just having a hard time with going, hey, Toby, how do I get leads, right? How do I even get in the door? Again, I don't want to lead you. What is the most common theme that you see when people come to you? Where are they struggling? Is it the, that last mile, or is it the first, 10 yards?
Exactly. So this is exactly where people struggle. And, in the two most important areas of any real estate business is lead generation and lead conversion, period. Nothing else is important as those two things. You've got to be generating leads consistently, and you have to be converting those prospects, both buyers and sellers. And it's not, in most agents' businesses, Toby, it's not the need to generate more leads. They may think that they need to generate more leads. The reality is they don't need more leads. They need more conversion. They need to put tangible programs and systems in place that, as simple as this. If I were to, and I ask this question in every event. I was just out in last week. I was in Vegas. I was in California. I was in Utah. Did 5 events, wow. And I asked this question at every event, right? And these are, both top agents, new agents, people just getting in the business, people who have been around forever. And I asked the question, why should your prospects use you over your competitor? Why should they? What is it that you do different than everyone else? And the amount of people that answer that question correctly is quite scary. Most people don't know. They think, well, they should hire me because I'm a hard worker, I'm the best. I have my GRI, my CRS, everything I touch turns to sold, right? They don't have things that the consumer wants, right? They want to know what's in it for me. And so a big part of what we do is we help give agents those tools, like a performance guarantee, like a smart seller program, a certified pre-owned program. We make them published authors. We give them tools like digital video books and things like that we can deploy that clearly define what they do differently than everyone else. And I think that the biggest mistake that agents are making is they don't realize they're unemployed every 90 days. And right. Every agent, you're unemployed every 90 days. It's not you don't have a salary. You're not out there, you're working off commission. It's a business. And so what is it that you're doing every day to be focused on going after new business? And honestly, most agents don't make that near enough of a high priority, and that's why we see a lot of agents get in the business and out of the business, and a lot of agents that are extremely successful and agents that aren't. I'll tell you, we recently interviewed a guy named Tim Heil. He's actually in my mastermind. He's one of my good friends down in Austin, Texas. He's, in his mid-20s, and the guy sells, he's one of the top agents in Keller Williams, and he literally has, last time I checked, it was like 5 people on the phone all day, every day, generating new business. And if you look at your most successful agents, that's their main focus, is either having ISAs, or if they're not on the phone, somebody else is, or somebody else is doing something consistently all day, every day to generate and convert new prospects. And so to answer your question, the agents I talk to, when they're struggling, they're not doing near enough of that.
Right. So earlier, right, in terms of what are you better at than anybody else, why should people hire? You're saying everybody should have a unique selling proposition. I would agree with you.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, how unique can it really be, right? Maybe unpack that a bit. Like, what sort of unique selling propositions have you seen out there? Because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
All right, so think about it like this, right? So you have 2 different markets. You have the your Met market, your Met database. These are the people that like you, love you, trust you. Your high eyes like to operate in that arena only, right? They like to play it safe and just deal with people that know them. And they have a big, a big network because they're that outgoing type personality. Then you also have the haven't met market. These are people that have no clue who you are. These are your FSBOs and your expires, your short sales, your REO, your just sold, just listed markets, your farm areas, people who don't have a clue who you are. So what we do is we help them identify why the haven't met market should respond to their marketing. Why should they agree to meet with you? What is it you're going to do different than everybody else? And then you build that Met database through aggressive marketing to people who don't know who you are. And then you have rock solid systems for maintaining that relationship after the transaction and in term growing that Met database, because I think that's going to be more and more important in the new era of real estate, is having that sphere that sees you as the authority, sees you as the expert. And so if you look at the haven't met market, let's say if I'm an expired listing, and I love expireds. I built my business going after expireds, and even FSBOs, any market like that. I want to be able to go after them and have it clearly defined on why I am the best choice to choose to list the home than everybody else that's in contact with them, right? So the messaging of how I position myself to that expired is important. It's very important, because if I don't position myself the right way, I'm not going to get the listing, but even if I get the listing, they're going to try to negotiate my commission and all these other things that go along with it. And so think about this, Toby. If you're going after a haven't met market, you're going after an expired, let's say you send a postcard. That postcard's got to be the main thing, right? When they see the postcards, I'm calling that guy. And so one of the best ways, Monica Benavidez, for example, she's a client who's been in our coaching for 4 years. She's the number one listing agent in her market. She came to me, I personally coached her, and she came to me when she was a school teacher, got out of teaching and got into real estate. And I said, the first thing we're going to do is go after the haven't met market. People who don't know who you are, we're going to focus on listings. And the lowest hanging fruit are the expireds. She goes, well, how do I go after the expireds? I said, one of the best ways is to offer a guarantee of guaranteeing your services. She says, well, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. I said, guarantee that you'll sell their home or else. Right? Like in my business, I use a free guarantee. When I went after both FSBOs and expireds, it was your home sold in 27 days guaranteed or you can fire me. And by putting that on a postcard, it dramatically increased the amount of calls I was generating as opposed to not having any message at all.
Right.
And so even in her business, and we did this, and she's the number one listing agent in her market by far. She kills it. And she does an amazing job at it. But if you look at any of those top agents in those, in most any market, I've been in over 45 states. I've been there, and I see top agents, and a lot of these folks are in our masterminds and our networks. Most all those top agents have some sort of guarantee they offer people who don't know who they are to make it risk-free to use them.
Sure. There's a guaranteed sale, right? Guaranteed sale in 90 days or I buy it. Guaranteed sale in 90 days or I'll make your mortgage payment. Guaranteed sale or I'll sell it for free. Your guarantee, right? So your unique was I'll sell it in 27 days or you can fire me. Now, here's the deal. And I want to know more. I want to unpack it a little bit more, like, what other unique, selling propositions have you seen out there? But, I'm going to sell my house, right? I have a house. I'm on the listing side of it. All I care about is I want you to sell it for the highest priced in the quickest amount of time. That's it. That's all I care about. What other, I mentioned a few different, some unique things that people can say. Not everybody is comfortable with saying, I'm going to buy it if I don't sell it. Not everybody's comfortable saying, hey, I'll make your mortgage payment. But I'm sure people would be comfortable, like, I will sell your house in 9 days or I'll sell it for free. What other things have you seen? And, for the people in my audience, what can they walk away with going, hey, yeah, man, I can implement that in my business today?
All right, perfect. Here's another example. By the way, to add to what you said, Monica drug her feet a long time on implementing a guarantee, and she still laughs about it because she's kicking herself for not doing it sooner. And I was the same in my business as well. We all are. We all have fears. Just some people manage their fear better than others, right? Don't let that fear lead to inaction. because the reality is having a unique selling proposition is absolutely crucial, especially in today's competitive market. But it doesn't have to just be a guarantee. It can be something as simple as marketing. You talked about it, Toby. You said what is it that you're going to do to sell my home, and how are you going to get me the most amount of money? That's what people care about. So if I were to ask that same question to a handful of agents, and I just say, what is it you do different to market my home than every other real estate agent? It's a great question, and it's a great question for every listener to ask themselves that. What is it you do? And if you go down the list, it's wrong, meaning if, I do an open house, and I put it in the MLS, and we have virtual tours, and we do all this, that's the same stuff everybody does.
Yeah.
There's no value in that, right?
Yep.
And so positioning is in branding as well, right? Branding that marketing plan. And so a better answer would be, we have an 89-point marketing plan that's designed to get properties sold in Glen Hollow subdivision that other agents have failed to sell them for the fastest amount of time and for the least amount of money. And we also have a certified pre-owned program that allows us to position your property differently than every other listing out there. And doing so, we're able to generate 4.65% more money, and a home that is certified sells 28 days faster than the MLS average. Mr. Seller, do you see value in making this home a certified pre-owned home?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Right? You see how I'm doing, but I'm selling programs. I'm selling systems, right? And it positions me differently. It's not about me. It's about what I offer. I use the example of Herman Cain. Do you remember the guy back in the presidential election that I think he was the CEO of Godfathers, and he at the time the U.S. Market was horrible. Everybody wanted to know who has a plan to be able to bring this country back on track. And Herman Cain came out with his 999 plan, right? Mm-hmm. You remember the 999 plan, Toby?
I do. Yep.
And he came in, right? And he was. I think he was at the bottom of the polls. I don't know where he was, but when he came out with his 999 plan, he surged, and he was number one, and everybody wanted him to be the president, right? He's got a plan because he has a plan, and I don't even know if he knew what was in that plan, but to the country, we looked at it as a 999 plan. It sounds like a plan. It's no different in our real estate business. You want to brand everything, so simple as marketing, brand your marketing, call it something. The ultimate home selling marketing system, 89 points that will sell your property the fastest and most amount of money. And that's what we help our clients do is we help them build that, right? We help reposition them. We help them reposition themselves because it really when you have those things, you're able to use them over the phone in your communication, right? It'll allow you to get in more doors, and then when you're face-to-face, it'll allow you to close more of those appointments.
Right. No, I agree. And I think in a lot of ways people can just look at other industries. So a lot of what you're talking about is I can look at the car industry, right? So you go and buy a Mercedes-Benz. Hey, this is a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, and you can feel super comfortable with it because we put it through a 200-point inspection. So you can look. People out there can look at other industries. What are they doing to brand themselves as unique, and just copy that into their real estate business. Now, for you, right? So you and I bring up certified pre-owned because this is something that I talk about every now and again, and people don't get it. Explain it for what this certified for you certified certified home. What does that look like?
Well, first off, you caught it, right? The first thing you thought of was Mercedes-Benz, and that that's what most people think of when you say certified pre-owned. It's Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and that's where and I'm sure the program was some sort of variation has been around, but I never used it until I came up with it when I was driving and I saw a Mercedes-Benz dealership by my house and it said certified pre-owned cars, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, the light bulbs went off. I was like, that would work amazing in real estate because we could position our listings differently. We could, and when we're on the appointment, we could offer this type of program that would separate us from everybody else because we offer it. But even bigger than that is we're able to piggyback off of the giants of BMW and Mercedes because they do such a fine job of branding the certified pre-owned in the mind of the consumer. And so as soon as we say certified pre-owned, they already know what it is, right? Which is, it's called mind share, right? The mind share has already been won, and then they already get the concept. So a concept, how it would work is similar to this. Is let's say you have a listing, and this listing, you're the listing agent, and you want to make it a certified pre-owned home. Well, you'd make it, it's your program, but what you would do is you would have, number one, they buy the home warranty. In most cases, the seller buys the home warranty anyway, right? Over 90% of the time, 95% of the time, the seller pays for the home warranty in most states.
Right.
And so why not go ahead and have the seller pay for that up front and be able to use that in our marketing, right? Be able to use that in our descriptions and all those things. And then two, have the home inspected up front. Have the inspector come out, inspect the property, fix everything on the inspection report that needs to be fixed, and be able to take those two things and be able to say that this is a certified pre-owned home. When they go through that process and they get those things done, we're now able to market it as a certified pre-owned home. And think about it. The reason it works so well is because it adds certainty to the transaction. I mean, most agents listening would agree if you're going on a listing that already has the home warranty, the inspection's already been done and everything has been fixed on the inspection report, it adds a lot of certainty to the transaction. Otherwise, the second round of negotiations always start after the inspection, right?
Yep.
And so we're able to kind of make that easier for everyone involved through the certified pre-owned program. And we have clients all over the country that use it through our coaching. And it's a huge listing tool, but it generates a slew of buyer leads as well because you're able to market it as a certified pre-owned. And when you do that, buyers know, they know what that means, and they want to know more information on it.
Yeah, and look, in terms of selling it quick, it's for the most amount of money. If you, I think there's a couple things here. One, if you as a listing agent go and you talk about certified pre-owned, you are saying, you automatically sort of are different and more. There's something more. Mercedes is luxury. So when you say, hey, we're going to pre-certify your home, all of a sudden you're sort of elevating the game. And two,
right.
when you ask them to, hey, listen, you're going to go pay for an inspection and you're going to go, I require you, if I'm going to list your house, I require you to pay for the inspection and fix all that stuff. You're coming off as like not easy. Where everybody else is walking through the door, pretty much, there's desperation like wafting off of their bodies, saying, "Please, like, give me the listing." I've been
commission breath is what we call that.
Right. Totally. So, yeah, look, I love that. And as a buyer, if I walk through the house and I got a package with, imagine they paid for an appraisal. I got a package, boom, I see the appraisal, boom, I see the inspection, and you give me a bunch of invoices from the contractor that says, hey, this is where they fix it, and this is how much I just spent to give you a crispy, tidy, brand new house. I would love that. Let me switch gears a little bit. So earlier you were talking about two groups, the met, right? I've met you, and then the haven't met yet. Now, when you started that, you said, hey, the high eyes, right? And for everybody, if you don't know where you're at, this is the DISC profile. Send me an email. I'll give you the link, and you can take the test. Not everybody out there, Hos, is a high eye. Right? For those people who want to sell real estate, and maybe they score low on the eye, and by the eye, for everybody out there, if you don't know what that is, that's the very outgoing, very gregarious type of personality. How can you for people who are again low on the I and low on the D for dominance, how can they go out and be successful in real estate?
Systems, right? So it's got to be systems. You got to have every agent, regardless of your personality, you have to have a system you depend on, right? You have to have something that generates the majority of your prospect, the majority of the leads. It's the most consistent, and then that's a rock solid system. And then once that thing's rolling, and then you're making money, and you're able to go invest in other systems. But look at that one system. You don't need to be the jack of all trades, a master of none. That's what most agents do. They throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And it doesn't matter what your personality is. I know people who have no personality at all that sell more homes than almost any other agent. Because they've aligned themselves with the right people, but they have that one niche or that one target market that they own, right? For me, it was I built my business going after sellers, specifically FSBOs. I started going after FSBOs my first 6 months. I listed 30 FSBOs my first month going after them. It's my bread and butter. If you ask anybody in my market at that time, Hos, he's a FSBO guy, right? They knew that. And so that one thing is you want to identify what that is. And it doesn't have to be, just something that, you want to enjoy doing it, but at the same time, understand that it's an evolution. Even if you don't enjoy it now, you develop those skills, you hone those skills, you get better at it, and then you're able to possess that type of skill that you can pick up a phone and close anybody or convert any prospect. And I think that, every agent, regardless of their personality, needs to do more at the conversion. But pick a niche that you can go after that you can focus on, and you never give up and you never stop, because through that you'll grow into that niche, and you'll start to become that authority when you do the right things, when you approach the niche. And so, to answer your question, what should they do? Understand that it is an evolution, right? So even if you're not good at it at the beginning, you become good at it. Jim Rohn always said, "You make up in numbers what you lack in skill." When we first tell people to call FSBOs, and they're like, "Man, this is so uncomfortable. I hate doing it. I don't want to do this." Great. I want you to spend 6 hours tomorrow calling FSBOs. And the next day, I want you to spend another 6. And we have them just in it, right? Because through that, they realize it's not so bad. And I think that, I think everybody can do more of that. Be more focused on one niche and stop trying to be the jack of all trades, the master of none.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And look, I love, Hos, that you said, these things are skills. They're, it's like lifting weights or making decisions, right? Like for people, many people, it's uncomfortable to do. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it, the better you get at it. So in terms of systems, right, for that low I person, I mean, what does that look like? I mean, certainly you can say, and I use channels. I say channels, and maybe you're swapping channels for systems. But, what is that? I mean, tell me what those systems for you look like.
All right, so channels, right, would be target markets to me, right, or niches, right? Okay. So same thing, right? You're identifying a target market. So think about a system, right? So a system is everything to where, let's just, anything, even your sphere of influence. But let's say let's take the same FSBO. If I have a FSBO come on the market and I get, let's say I get notified from the Red X, and the Red X says, "Hey, there's this FSBO that just came on the market," and I reach out to that FSBO. What's the process that you're going to market to that FSBO? Meaning, it's going to take more than one contact. And not every FSBO is going to be worth your time and money to prospect. So think about beyond the initial call. Every channel, right, needs especially have it met. Sometimes this needs to be longer, but a minimum of 60 days of communication, to where every week I'm going to call them and I'm going to mail them. I'm going to call them, I'm going to mail them, and I'm going to follow this system. And I'm going to ask that prospect a lot of questions to find out who's worth my time and money to prospect and who's not, because the majority of them are a waste of your time. But you want to know how to ask the right questions to where then they go into your system. And I'll tell you why this is so important, because 80% of sales happen on the 5th to 12th contact. Mm-hmm. But only less than 10% of agents make more than 3 contacts. Yep. Right? So people don't make enough contacts. They don't have that. They don't have the follow-up. They don't have the system. They're too focused on the outcome and less focused on the action. If you focus on the action, the outcome will happen, because you just start playing the numbers game. I mean, if you're adding all these prospects and you're doing your thing and you don't, and you're consistent, you're going to get results. And that's what we help people do, is help them put that system in place, and help them, but depend on it and follow it because there's riches in your pipeline.
Yeah.
And if you look at your business, how fat and juicy is that pipeline? Like, do you have people you've been in contact with for 60 days that are close to listing? And that needs to be more of a focus for any agent, even top agents. I know a lot of top agents that don't do, they don't do near what they could if they had that type of, automatic follow-up and system in place.
Yeah. No, okay. So I understand now what you mean by system. So, you know why? I mean, here's what I think. In terms of, maybe somebody will let me back up for a second. I also say, the fortune is in the follow-up. So you have to follow up. The reason why people don't follow up more than 3 times, even though they may intellectually know that the sale happens, on the 8th to 12th point of contact, is they don't know what to say.
You know why they don't know what to say? Because they don't know what they do different than everybody else.
Got it. Yeah.
That's why. If you don't have, and I call it a marketing arsenal, if you don't have a marketing arsenal like performance guarantee, a smart seller program, an easy exit listing, a communication guarantee, an 89-point marketing plan, a certified pre-owned program, and you don't have these tools to be able to differentiate yourself, it makes conversion very uncomfortable and very difficult. It would for me. I don't know what I would say if you took away my marketing arsenal. I would have no weapons. I'd have nothing, right? I would be I'd have to surrender. I don't know what I do different. I would have to compete on what? Either skills or my expertise, things that really people don't really care about. They want to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have those things, it does make talking to people difficult. It makes it challenging. It's redundant. You're not saying anything new. You're not identifying what that prospect's pain is, and because you're not identifying what the pain is, you're also not able to solve their pain with a solution, which is what those should be. They're the solutions that will allow that person to get the results they seek.
I agree. And so my next question here, I'm gonna tee you up, Hos. Here's the deal. So, so let's say that you have your unique selling proposition. You know what you're going to deliver, when, at what point in time. This is where a CRM becomes extremely valuable, right? Because I think in campaigns, right? So if I see a FSBO expired or whatever, certainly I should call them first. But I should start putting in the mail. I should mail them once a week, right? With a campaign, right? The first letter is why, if it's an expired, right? Why expireds, expire, right? The second is why I'm so great, right? The third is whatever. So I believe CRMs are very important. So I'm teeing you up, Hos. You have.
Well, you know why? Toby, this is what's great. And this is why I created Fuel Lead System. And Fuel stands for follow up every lead, right? It's what it's all about. It's automation, and it's a CRM that automates literally everything. And it was created because of the need and getting people to actually do what they know they need to do. So we wanted to. Our goal when building Fuel was to do that, is to create a system that automates everything, that brings everything under one roof. And so, for example, with Fuel. A user that let's say they go after that market FSBOs. Well, we're integrated through API with Vulcan 7, LandVoice, Zillow, RedX, Coal Information, and Lead Heist, which gives us ability to integrate with all these other sources. But it's a hub of operations. So we've built it to where now those prospects and those leads go into one system, which is Fuel. And then Fuel will mail all those postcards. It will send the mail. It'll email them. We have automatic SMS texting because I believe SMS is crucial in an effective campaign, follow-up campaign, because that's we all communicate in 140 characters or less, right? The texting is huge. And so with Fuel, we automate the whole process. Literally, the agent doesn't have to do anything other than make the phone calls. And reach out to them. And I want to add one other thing to that, is the phone calls are where the conversion takes place. The direct mail is there to make the phone calls easier, more effective. To think that you can just direct mail a target market and not follow up in any other form or fashion is really a farce. It's a bad idea. You're not going to get the results you seek. It takes everything in today's market to be able to convert the maximum amount of prospects and increase your conversion. Everything. You need to be on the phone. You need to email. You need to call. You need to text. You need to do it all. And all those things working together, communicating a powerful message that positions you as the undisputed best choice, best expert, this is the agent, is everything. And that's what we do with Fuel. It does it all. It's an incredibly robust system, we have round robin leads and teams, and literally when somebody calls a phone number, it whispers in your ear where the call came from. If it's an expired, it'll whisper in your expired caller, before the call connects. The reason that's important, right, is, again, positioning. When that person calls, I want to be able to cater that message to them immediately from the beginning, where it's, thanks for calling the Hos Pratt team where we sell homes other agents have failed to sell. How may I help you? Right? So that's important, and that's really what Fuel is. It's for the agent that sees the definite need to evolve in their automation, evolve in their processes, and we brought it all together to help them, to automate it for them once and for all.
Got it. Yeah, no, look, I agree with you, right? You can't just direct mail, right? So you're saying, you have to direct mail them, you have to email them, you have to text them. I agree with that. I would love to see somebody take a really, really super holistic approach, right? And it's this. It's, okay, I found Hos Pratt. He's this expired guy. He's this Facebook guy, whatever. Dude, I should try to friend you on Facebook. I should follow you on Twitter and start really wrapping my brand and my unique selling proposition around you. And if I even maybe take a picture of your house, get a picture, find a picture, whatever, and then pin it on my Pinterest board, right? Or pin it on Instagram. There's so many things you could do where if I see it as a seller, I'm like, I would be all over that. I'm like, oh man, this guy is everywhere doing everything. I have to have him sell my house.
And that even gets into Facebook retargeting and uploading your leads to Facebook. And
yeah.
I mean, we teach a lot of that too. Facebook marketing. We look at this though, Toby. Like I said, real estate's changing, and you do have to hit them from all angles. But this is a big thing that we've looked at. We talked about even today, the programs and systems that will help differentiate the agent. But you also need powerful tools that are just when somebody sees this tool, it's a no-brainer. And for example, what would that be? What could we wrap all these things around in some sort of media communication that would be like the slam dunk, grand slam, this, you're game over, you're in. And so we've been working all year on a project that would help people do that. That if you could go on a listing appointment and you could give them this one thing, what would it be? And it is to make those agents a published author. I thought, well, what if you could make, an agent a published author of a book that, teaches people how to buy and sell real estate without going crazy? And and what would happen to their authority when they went on an appointment?
Right.
And so for the last year, we've been working on this project, and we're actually, we're soon to be launching it, where we're going to, we wrote a book. And we're going to take our clients, and we're going to make them published authors, to where now when they go on a listing appointment, they take that book as a gift. They give it to them and say, I wrote the book on selling real estate. What happens when you leave that book? Or what happens? You probably won't have to leave it because you're going to get the listing. But what happens if you mail that book to your entire sphere of influence? It's called instant credibility, instant authority. And in today's new era, to separate yourself, not only do you have to have those types of unique selling propositions, but you also have to have the media packages to back it all up.
Yeah.
We launched last year. We launched a video book, for example. It's a lot of people send pre-listing books. It's a 7-inch. It's a book. I wish you could see it, but it's a book that has a 7-inch high-def TV in it, and it has 5 videos that go through and explain the different programs and systems that this agent offers. And so when they take a listing, they mail the digital pre-listing book or drop it off to the prospect. And literally, Toby, when you open this thing and that 7-inch high-def TV plays this incredible video, it's like it blows people's minds. And they can't believe what they're seeing. And then when they get over that, they can't believe what they're hearing in the videos, because it's such effective marketing. And that right there, even those two things, right, the video books and becoming an author and having all these other things, is my passion. That's what we do, is we want to, to help equip agents out there with those tools that will forever impact their business and their life for that matter.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love the idea of being a publisher. And if people want to be a published author, it's not that hard. I wrote a 32-page ebook. I would love for you to download it. It's free on my site, superagentslive.com. If anybody in the audience hasn't gotten that, go get it. It's great. And now I just give it away for free. Now I could go to Fiverr, pay $5, get a book cover, boom, pop that on Amazon, and I'm an instant author. And then have my friends, go buy a copy. I refund them, but get reviews. Now that's the thing, right? Yeah. So you can't just give me a book, Hos, and me go, oh yeah, that's great. I want to confirm it, right? I need to see social proof. I need to see 50 to 100 5-star reviews on Amazon. If you could do that, if you could figure out a platform to do that, then you're golden. Did you want to say something before I move on?
No, you're right. I mean, reviews are, in case you can't tell, are becoming more and more and more important, and quite quickly. And, all the way from Zillow to Yelp to Amazon. I mean, I bought a book, last night. It was 11 o'clock. I'm a parent. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and there's this book that, somebody mentioned, and I was, writing a book because I'm trying to learn how to keep my daughter, who's 2 years old, from getting out of her bed at night, right? I don't know how to keep a 2-year-old from getting out of bed at night, so I have to go seek and learn from people to do it the right way. That's even in parenting and business, we should always be seeking those tools and those mentors and that help from people that can make our lives much easier.
Yeah, right. So, and in terms of reviews and the social proof, I mean, it's NAR just came out with a stat that in terms of like people think millennials are all living in their parents' basements, but millennials accounted for the biggest chunk of new buyers for homes. Now it was not very. It was 31% millennials, 30% Gen X, and 30% boomers. But again, the millennials edged them out, everybody else out. Now those are the people who truly rely on social proof. And that's one of the reasons. One of the other things that I recommend people do, and I would love to get your take on this, is if you come to me and say, hey, I want to list your house, and you're going to say, listen, I have this network of buyers and sellers, and and I can really get your house in front of a bunch of people, I'm going to check you out on LinkedIn. So you better have 500 plus contacts under your name. So. Really quickly, earlier you mentioned retargeting on Facebook. I 100% agree with that. One of the things, I'm sure you're familiar with SmartZip, and that's one of the magic things that SmartZip does is they can see, I don't know how they do it, but they can take an address, a physical address, find the IP address, and then get the cookies for that household, and then go buy ads and retarget that individual with your ads as an agent. Are you familiar with this? Do you know how to do it? Have you seen anybody do it other than SmartZip?
Yeah, SmartZip is actually a sponsor of Recharge, our live event that is October 22nd through the 24th. And they were a sponsor last year, and a lot of our clients use SmartZip. And a part of what they do is retargeting. I don't think it's the biggest part that they do. I think the biggest part's the data, right? Providing the data of the top 20% of people that are most likely going to be making a move. But on the retargeting, Facebook's made it real easy to do this. And, it's you can literally in Facebook, you can two things, and I would do this. We have all of our clients doing this. Like this is crucial that you upload your database, your sphere, into Facebook, right? Because you can do that. You upload it in a CSV, and you can create a custom audience. And that custom audience you can create an ad that only that custom audience sees. And because you only pay for when the ad is clicked, it makes it really cheap to just be in front of your sphere all the time. And I think that more and more people see that as it's a necessity to be doing more Facebook marketing because that's where number one, everybody's on Facebook. I mean, my grandma is on Facebook. She's an 80-year-old that lives in the middle of nowhere in Iowa on a farm, and she has Facebook. So since everybody's on there, you now have that audience. But in Facebook, you also have a way, and there's you can create a custom audience, and then you click on website. And then get pixel for retargeting, and you can take that pixel and you can put it on your website, right, or landing page, or wherever it is, to where when they go visit your website, they now see an ad. It follows them on Facebook, and they always see that ad because they visited your website. That's why when you see a lot of, like, you'll be, the other day I was shopping for shoes, right? I wanted some driver loafers, and I was, I pulled up Steve Madden shoes, and I went to the site, and then when I went to Facebook, the first thing I saw on my right-hand side was a Facebook ad for Steve Madden shoes.
Yeah.
Well, they use retargeting, right?
Yep.
And that's what that is. It's just a pixel that's on that site that will follow you wherever you go. And again, it's not the magic cure-all, end-all, but it definitely adds to the phone calls, the emails, the mailers, everything else. I mean, it literally takes almost all that stuff to get to get to where you're maximum lead gen and max lead conversion. It takes it all.
Yeah, I love it. And by the way, it's funny, as I think a lot of, and we're going to start wrapping up here, Hos, but I think a lot of agents don't know, number one, even how to use Facebook appropriately as a marketer. And when you get into, doing ads and custom audiences, people are just lost with that. So I'm thinking about creating a product around this.
And that would be my answer, is like, where do you go get information? Well, you seek it, right? I mean, I didn't know it at the beginning. I had to go learn from other people, and and there we teach our people. It's not an excuse not to know, right? But it's what you do. That's why you got to go seek it.
Yep.
And once you learn it, then I believe this, Toby. Everybody's one piece of information away from achieving any level of success they want to achieve. You're one idea away, one coach away, one mentor away. You're one thing away. And so the most successful people are the biggest students. For me, I go to conferences. Those are where all my best friends are. All my best friends live, somewhere else, and we only see each other a handful of times a year at a conference, you know, because those are the most successful people, and those are the people that I like to be around. And those types of people can be found at those types of conferences. Yeah.
Well, I certainly have found is the more successful you get, the more you have to travel to find people of similar status or background or whatever. So look, this is for my audience. If you guys want me to create that Facebook product, send me an email. Let me know. Here's I'm going to ask you two last questions I ask everybody, and here's the first one. And I mean, it's this. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
Wow. Besides the obvious, Think and Grow Rich, right?
Right.
Would be the obvious. I'm going to give you another one because I think that's, everybody's number one.
There's two number one answers. And I will hear. So Think and Grow Rich should be in everybody's bookcase. And then the second one that I just get over and over again and I disallowed is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Besides going through everything Jim Rohn has ever spoken and going through Anthony Robbins, the Personal Power, 30 Days to Life Transformation, those are two big things. But the one thing that I would read is, and I'm sitting here trying to look for it on my bookshelf because I do have a lot of them. But it's a book. And by the way, the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod for anyone who's wanting to grow their business is something that is huge too. The Miracle Morning. You guys talk about. You interviewed Hal.
Oh yeah, I have two. I have two of those sitting on my right behind me, and I have one. Hal sent it to me, and they're autographed and all that. But yeah, that's a good book. To be totally honest with you, I love his message. I haven't read the book. They've just been sitting there collecting dust.
And the book is Black Belt of the Mind.
Whoa!
The book that I would. You know that book?
I don't. I love when I get new ones.
Oh yeah, this is really good, and it's actually written by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Fred Gross.
Oh yeah.
And the book is a conscious approach to wealth. It's an easy read. It's not a hard read at all, but it is one of the most outside the box, mind transforming methods and principles that I've ever read that apply to real estate. And so, this book was given to me by several of my mentors that dedicated their success to the principles that he teaches in it. But that would be my obvious choice would be Black Belt of the Mind. Dr. Fred Gross.
I love it. And look, if anybody wants to read that book, you can get a free copy using our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. All right. Hey, so this is my last question. I'm very interested in your answer because you did grow up on a dairy farm. Do you have any personal habits, Hos, that you believe have contributed to your success?
Yes, I do. Besides my work ethic, the question that was asked from Barbara Corcoran, if you know Barbara, she's the one on
Sure.
the gal on Shark Tank. And she said this, she goes, what's the number one trait that you see in the most successful people? And her answer just spoke right to me. And her answer was, she said, the most successful people I know all have something to prove.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, and it's true. Like, why do you have the drive? Why do you have the desire? What is it that makes you do those things that nobody else is willing to do and have that crazy work ethic? And it's honestly, it's that internal drive comes from, I guess I have something to prove. And, I grew up with no college and, barely made it through high school. So I guess there'd be a lot to prove there. And I seem to turn it into a strength to motivate me to do the things that I needed to do to become the person that I needed to become in order to achieve what I sought to achieve. So, that would be the main thing for me is that. And if you don't have that, reach deep within and find that, because that right there is the one trait that I see in the most successful people as well.
I love it, man. And, I'll tell you something. So, I mean, in my background, I've raised venture capital. I've done all sorts of different things. But if you ask any venture capitalist what they want to see in their founders before they, drop $5 million into a company, it's just that. They want to see somebody with a chip on their shoulder, somebody that needs to prove something. So I would agree with that. Hos, hey man, thanks for coming on the show. I have a very, very big Twitter tribe and a very engaged audience. So let everybody know where they can find you and where they can reach out and say thank you for spending an hour of your valuable time sharing with my audience.
Absolutely. A couple things. Feel free to reach out to us. I'll give you my direct number and my email, and I'll give you some more information on how to reach out to us. But the phone number is 214-919-5321, 214-919-5321. The email is Hos@hospratt.com. That's HOSS@HOSSPRATT.com. If you want more information on training systems, coaching, HosPratt.com is a great place to start. And Toby, as well, I'd like to let everybody know that we have our live conference, Recharge Live, coming to Dallas, October 22nd through the 24th. We'll have 250 agents from all over the country that will be there for 3 days to learn principles and systems that will dramatically separate them from everybody else. And we give them the blueprint to show them how to double their business in 12 months or less. I would encourage everybody that's wanting to get to the next level, that's currently seeking new strategies and ways to differentiate yourself. What comes out of that conference, is nothing but incredible techniques and tools that you'll be able to deploy immedeploy. So I would encourage anyone who wants to be more information on becoming a published author, you want these tools, to be at Recharge, and that website is rechargelive2014.com. RECHARGELIVE2014.com, rechargelive2014.com, and we'd love to have you.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, I will make sure, if I know a lot of people are out there, they're driving, they're walking their dog, mowing their lawn, listening to this. I'll just go to the website. If you need any, I'll have all those links. I'll have all those numbers down. Just superagentslive.com and look for Hos Pratt. And Hos, I'll make sure that I air this prior to that. So, hey, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming on the show, and let's stay in touch.
Wonderful. Thanks, Toby, for having me. Take care.
See you, bud.
Let's go.